To make changes to your section heads and tails in Revit, under the project browser, expand out the category of families. From there, expand out annotation symbols. Then find the word section. In this case, we have section head filled, no arrow, open, as well as section tail. These each describe what that symbology looks like. If we wanted to change the way the section head filled looks, we would highlight on that, right-click, and then select on the Edit button. By doing this, we'll now have arcs, lines, and filled regions that make up this look that we're used to seeing of our sections in our plan documentation. If we want to make modifications to that, you can use your line work tools, filled region tools, any of your drafting tools that you would typically use. Make this shape look the way that you like it, and then ultimately load this back into your project environment. Also, each one of these pieces of text could either be text if we never wanted it to change, or it can be a label. If it's a label, you can select on it, come up here to Edit Label, and then change the default label information. To move that over, you can just highlight on the piece of information that you would like to have over here, which means the information that would be reporting inside of here. Click on the little green arrow here, and then get rid of the other piece of information by highlighting on it and clicking on the red arrow. In this case, though, I don't want to make that change. I like it being what it was. So I'm going to move down here. If I'd wanted to keep it, I would have selected on OK. But in this case, since I want to get rid of it, I'm going to select on Cancel. Now, if we want to make changes to the tail, we'd go through the same process. One other thing that I want to bring up before I get that far is that really, once you made your changes to it, you should always load it back into your project. And then if any changes have been made, then we would have seen those changes occur any place that the section had been placed inside of the project environment. Now, if we wanted to make a change to that tail, we could do the same thing. Come down to one of your section tails, highlight on it, click on Edit, and then use your drafting tool to change the shape and the general look of how the tail would look. And then ultimately, by clicking on Modify, you can load that back into your project. In this case, I didn't make any changes to it, so I'm just going to click on the X here in the corner to close down the view. And I'll say no, I don't want to make any changes to this particular section tail family. Now, one other thing to know about sections as far as setting them up goes, underneath the Manage tab, there's a button here called Additional Settings. If you select on that, you can find section tags on the pull-down list. When you do, you'll see a list of all the different types of families related to section tags. From here, you can specify which section head do you want to use, which section tail family do you want to use, as well as this broken section display style. Do you want it to just be a continuous line, or do you want it to have the ability to have a gap inside there on your actual section line when you draw it out? To make modifications to your different kinds of section symbols, there's two different spots really that you need to look. One is this Type Properties dialog box that we see here, because through here you specify which section family, such as the section head or section tail, that you want to use with that style of section symbol. The other spot that you need to go to is underneath the project browser, Families, Annotation Symbols. Find the appropriate Revit family, or that symbology that would go with the head or the tail. Highlight on it, right-click, and ultimately go down to Edit, where from that environment, you can make changes to it by just using your typical Revit drafting tools.